For example, I am a Dutch citizen. My color is orange. I support soccer football, and I eat Dutch food. Culture is everywhere, and because of this, it is essential that we learn to be culturally competent. Psychologists have to be particularly aware of their cultural competence. The Universal Declaration of Ethical Principles for Psychologists says that psychologists have to treat their patients with respect, and they have to accept and understand their patients' needs. Sometimes cultural differences can play a strong role in the effectiveness and ethicalness of a counseling session. Psychologists can never be immune to cultural differences because they grow up in a specific culture. The question then is, can an American psychologist successfully and ethically and unbiasedly counsel a non-American patient? One argument is that an American psychologist can't successfully counsel a non-American patient. Our attitudes are developed by our culture and are the way that we understand others and define correct behavior. Legally, if a psychologist feels that a patient's behavior is harming someone's safety, then they have to report it. The problem is that the definition of harm is culturally bound. For example, in one case study, an East Asian family had immigrated to America and the parents used physical punishment to discipline their children. A psychologist then put the children in protective services. The parents felt undermined and threatened because in their opinion they had done what was culturally acceptable. This behavior is promoting ethnocentrism by saying that American beliefs about what is right and wrong are correct. Psychologists are trained on how to counsel people based on what is considered to be normal and socially acceptable behavior. The social differences between an American and a non-American person may cause miscommunication. An example of this can be seen momentarily in a short clip from the psychological television series In Treatment. The clip shows an interaction between Dr. Weston and his patient Sunil. Sunil is an Indian citizen, and in this clip he expresses concern for his sons, Arjun, and his daughter-in-law, Julia's relationship.
If Julia intends to have another child with my son, she should be trying to do so. But clearly, this is not her wish.
This obviously upsets you, this aspect of Julia and Arun's private life.
He's my son.
I understand that, Sunil, but he's also a married man, and the issues of contraception and childbearing, surely they're between him and Julia. Isn't it rightfully their business?
And not mine? I have nothing to do with it.
I'm not sure that they would think so.
No, I'm his father.
I understand.
I'm his father. It's my family too.
Dr. Weston's technique was not appropriate when treating Sunil because he didn't understand how important family is in Sunil's culture. Another argument is that an American psychologist can successfully counsel a non-American patient. Our attitudes are susceptible to change. Personal experience changes our attitudes. A psychologist has to listen to their patient and understand and find out more about the patient's culture. We can see this change by using the previous East Asian example. The American psychologist may believe that East Asians are cruel, but by understanding the patient, the psychologist can understand that in the patient's culture, their behavior is seen as discipline. Psychologists have to learn specific techniques to treat culturally diverse patients. A psychologist should ask questions and be respectful. Another technique is self-disclosure therapy, where the psychologist reveals personal information about him or herself to the patient to establish a personal connection between them. This technique helps patients feel safe and understood and become more relaxed. The question then is, which argument is more valid? As a psychologist, you have to remember that it isn't about your beliefs, it's about the patient's needs, and your only goal is to help the patient. Psychologists need to be trained to understand how to accept, understand, and treat culturally diverse people. If a psychologist is able to do this, then they can successfully and ethically counsel a culturally diverse patient. So why is this so important? America is continuously becoming more culturally diverse, and because of this, you are going to have to study, graduate, work, and generally interact with people from different cultures. In order to be able to do this, you have to know how to accept another person's culture. Remember that you can't always use your belief system and apply it to others, because someone's culture may be very different to yours. Respect each other. Ask questions when you don't understand. Don't shy away from people because you don't understand their background. This is our culturally diverse world, so let's embrace it.